Hello, Professor Toybox here, and I'm back with a special follow-up episode to yesterday's Toybox tutorial. I've got Maleficent with me today because I'm going to theme this Toybox to use the Sleeping Beauty theme. The star of my Toybox tutorial series is Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, so I want to stick with the medieval theme for this racing Toybox, and I thought Sleeping Beauty would be a fun theme to use, so we're going to transform my racetrack into the Briar Ridge Speedway. And so to do that, as we get started, I'll begin with the sky changer. And for right now, we'll just stick this down out here off the edge of the terrain. And we'll come into the properties. And the sky that I want is under Disney Infinity 3.0. It's the Evergreen Woodland Sky. And so there's our sky. And then let's make sure you can put down a boombox as well out of the Gameplay Toys drawer. And I've got it set right now to silence. Okay, so then the next thing I'm going to do is I want to set the theme for my terrain. And everything I've put down so far, we're going to style that to use the Enchanted Briar Ridge Forest. And I'll set that to be my theme, and I'll theme all. And with those two steps, setting the sky and setting the terrain theme, whoops, I think I forgot to set that to be my theme. But with those two steps, setting the sky and the terrain theme, it already looks a lot better. So that's good. All right, I think to begin, I'm going to start with this section over here. And my design for this toy box, usually when I build a speedway, I try to set it up so that every area of the course has a different setting, a different location or look to it that will fit with the overall theme of the toy box, but so each area of the course looks different, and that way I can kind of remember where I am and what's coming up next. Makes it a lot easier than just everything kind of same. So over here, what I want to do is I'm going to build a little mountain, and we're actually going to drive through a tunnel here, and up sitting up on top of that is going to be Maleficent's castle. And so to begin, I need a bridge here for this section of road. So I'm going to come up to the terrain drawer and go left. And I'm looking for the long, short, extra wide canyon wall. That's the one I'm looking at. And I'm going to line this up so that it starts down here at the bottom edge of the slope and ends at the top edge. I'm going to put one on either side, oops, like that. And then we'll put a little cap on the end. And I kind of like doing this because it hides the gap underneath the track. And there's a couple of different ways to do it, but that I like to do it, but that's the one I really enjoy doing the most. And we'll stick another one of these over here on either end, like that. Okay, so that gets us up to the top of this. And then what we're going to do, let's go ahead and theme the road here. And again, we're going to use the Briar Ridge Forest floor. And I'm going to theme all. And then I'm going to change a few sections of the road, because the road doesn't have to use the same theme everywhere. And so this piece of road for the bridge, we're going to set to use the Pirates theme. And I'm just going to apply that. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this piece and the curve. And also for these little two pieces over here. That's what I was just double checking. So it's going to be stone across the bridge and through the tunnel. And then we'll be coming out of the tunnel over here. All right, so that looks good. Okay, now we have this smaller section over here, and what I want to do, we're going to put down this piece. I'm going to line it up like that, and I'm going to set the style of this to be the Pirates theme. Buried treasures, I'll set that to be my theme. And it's not so much the sand I'm interested in, is the rocky wall, because I want this to look like a mountain. Alright, then we'll come out of spark mode, and I'm going to build a little kind of a little extension out from the mountain here to the edge of the bridge, like that. And then the bridge will be across there. And while we're right here, let me come down here and I'm going to pick this piece up, put it back down, and I'm going to scroll over to this large flat terrain block here. I'm going to put this in right up next to those blocks and right over here with the edge of that curve, like that. And that's where that's going to go. So that's where the mountain's going to sit. And you'll notice it connects up with the edge of this terrain. That's right on the edge of that block. Yeah. Okay. And then at this point, we'll come back down here and we'll just extend this around the perimeter of the mountain. And I'll go ahead and do that and fast forward and be back in just a moment. Okay, I'm back and I've extended the edging there around the mountain. You'll notice I did not put any on the back side of the mountain. And I did that because as this is going to be primarily a racing toy box, I only really need to worry about the sections of the course that the player is going to see. And so as they approach down this way and then come around this curve, they're never going to see the backside of that mountain. So I don't need to waste memory putting in blocks to fill that in. So I wanted to point that out. Okay, so now the next level, I'm going to start with this narrow cliff edge. And we're going to put it right here, situated just like that. Just so you can kind of see, I'll rotate it a little bit. That's where we're going to place that. And then we're just going to build around the perimeter of the mountain here. And this will come right up to the edge of that road, because I've already measured all this out in advance. And again, I don't need to go much further than that because the player's never going to see that. And on the other side, we'll do the same thing. So we're going to come to the edge of the road here like that. And now this time, this is going to extend off the edge, so I need to use something smaller here. And so we'll put this up here instead. And then we'll put this little block up there like that. Oops, a little too far. And that's going to hang off the edge there a little. We could skip that and put in one of these half size, half width cliffs, like that. That would probably be better. Okay, so now we have that part of the mountain. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and pick up this piece and put it down, and we'll put the ceiling in. And for that I'm going to go left one piece to this section here, and I'm going to come right up to the corner like that. And that will sit in there just like that. And then the next smallest piece over will sit here like this. And we'll do that. And then we'll pick up this small terrain block here. Put that on the ground. And we'll fill in around the perimeter of the cavern there. And again, I don't need to worry about this gap because the player will never see that from the ground. Alright, so now that we have that, that's looking pretty good. And for Maleficent's castle, we can come up to the set pieces. Oops, went too far. And I'm going to go left. We're going to use the tower fort. And we'll put this up here centered on top of the mountain like that. So that looks pretty good. And if you want, you can put a fence around here. I would use the Halloween Town fences up under Building Sets Group 3. And I would place these here like this, and then run them around the perimeter of the top of the tower. Like that. And then all the way down around that side and the other side. Okay, so there's that. And then on this side, just to kind of finish this edging off a little bit, because right now when you come out of the tunnel, that looks really square. And so to make that look less square, what I will do is pick this piece up and put it down. And if we go left in the terrain drawer, we're going to find some pieces that are about half that height that will work perfectly for this. Oh, and by the way, since we're right here, oh, they're over here. Because this also looks a little square, we can put this down. I'm going to line it up like that and flip it around. And now that doesn't look quite so square coming through there. And we could do that same thing for this side, but it'll be a lot more noticeable seeing these pieces sticking out into the middle of the room there. So instead we're going to use these pieces. I'm going to stick one there, and we'll put this small one over here. Because if I did the same thing I did on the entrance, it's going to look like that. And that just looks a little weird. But coming in from this direction, you're never going to see that. You'll be coming in, and then as you come out, the top edge of the cave looks a little rough there, so that looks good. Looks more natural. So that's the mountain. And now we'll work on the bridge. And for this, we're going to come to the blocks drawer. Oops. And I'm going to go to the right. We have this vaulted platform. And I'm going to put my first one in over here. And we'll go ahead and style this to use the castle brick. And I'll set that to be my theme. And while that's theming, let me find my screenshot here. There we go. Okay, and what we're going to do, cancel out of that. I'm going to put another one over here on this end of the road, like this. Oh, and one more in the middle, sorry. Like that. And then we'll come back to the square block. We're going to put these along the road here. Oops. Thought maybe I'd gone too far there. And then we can come to the long block over here and just want to line it up with the edge of that over here like this. We'll come down and stack those like that. And just close off that gap that's underneath there. And then we'll come over here and do the same thing over here. So like that. And actually, now that I think about it, I did not use that piece there. Sorry. I think I used... yeah. I used that. Sorry about that. And then we used this little wedge piece. And just so that that's not looking quite so open under there, you could put in some kind of a ceiling or something, but that's pretty good. So I like that. And then up underneath building sets group 4, if you go to the right, we've got these farm wall pieces. I'm going to set these up here like this. We'll put it on the other side too, and this will be the railing for the bridge. And actually, sorry, that needs to sit out here like that. There's a piece of terrain I forgot to add that I'll do in a minute. There we go. And then it's just a matter of building this across. And it hangs over the edge there a little bit, but that's actually not bad. It doesn't look as bad as you might think. All right, under Building Sets Group 1, if you go to the left, you have these nice briar hedges. And I kind of like that because that kind of fits Maleficent's theme here a little bit. So I'm going to put this up here like that. I'll put one on the other side. I'm going to make it look like the briars have kind of overtaken the bridge here a little bit. And you don't have to worry about that side so much because the player is not likely to see it, but this side, you do. So there we've got that. And then we can kind of put some decoration down here on the ground in front of this. Like that. And if you wanted, you could use this and add a little bit more. Put it on the ground, and yeah, maybe let's do this. And I'm rotating that just so it's not quite so repetitive. There, so now it kind of looks like that area is overgrown with briars. And one more piece of terrain that I need here. Put one of these there and one on the other side. There we are. And we can put some briars up top too. So we can pick this up, for example. Put these over here. So yeah, I like that. All right, so there's Maleficent's Mountain, and that was probably the biggest thing we need to build. Now over here, what we're going to do is build a little town. And looking for my screen grab. Let's start with this fencing again. We're going to come down here to this corner piece. And you can't really fill this entire toy box with stuff. Well, I mean, you could, but it would be pretty full if you tried to do that. But, so we could put a corner here, for example, and then run this on down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and another corner, and make an 11 by 11 plot there. And from the player's standpoint on the ground, it won't be weird that this is all open space, because it kind of looks like we've blocked off a field there. But down on this end, we're going to put a little village. And so we'll scroll over to the right and pick up these buildings. And I'm going to set it up like that, I think. And yeah, that'll look pretty good. So we'll put that there like that. Flip this around like that. And I'm going to build kind of a little tower here. Kind of like a bridge that we're going to walk or drive under. And we can add a couple of balconies to fill in this empty space up here. So that looks pretty nice. Nice entrance for the town. And then in here, we're just going to add some buildings. So if we come back over here and pick up this large base, and one side has a door, there we go. And we can fit this back here up against the edge of the world like that. And then we can pick up maybe this one. And we're just going to add some buildings here. Nothing too fancy. And let me go over to the left, because there's also under the Pirates set these stone walkways, and these are really nice for kind of building something that looks like everything's all connected. We can flip this stuff around so it's not quite so repetitive. Kind of like that. Let's see. 2, 3, one more. Like this. And we're just building some walkways here. And actually, I think I need to take that one further. And this is going to help me lay out where I want my buildings to go. That's why I'm doing this. Like that. Okay, so then we can come back over here and pick this guy up. And we can put one down over here on the end like this. And so it's not too repetitive. We should mix up the buildings a little bit. Maybe do another big one right here. Like that. And we can put one over here. And I might tweak that one in a minute. Okay. Some rooftops. This will just be a nice little area to drive through. I think it'll look really good. Let's see, put this one here like this. Do this one down on this end. Like that. Little portico in front of that door for a little bit of decoration. We can put some chimneys on these bigger buildings. And I think there's a well. We can put that here. That would be kind of a nice thing to add. And I'm also going to put a tower in here. We'll use the clock tower. There, so now we got kind of a nice little village as we come into town. And over here, we can put down some other buildings. Let's see, let's use this one. Haven't used that yet. And I'm gonna, I don't want to back that up too much, but you want it to be here so the player can see it when they come through this area. Is that the one? Yeah. Like that. And we need a roof for this one. And a chimney. Oops. We can put a little stall on the side where maybe some animals might be kept. Maybe do that over here too. That adds some interest. And then we need some walkways on the other side. Connect that up to the main road. That one up to the main road. And there we go. So now we've got a nice little village in that corner. So that's looking pretty good. Now at the start, over here, I want to set up another little kind of a village area here. Not really a village, but just a home or something like that. And this is the area you saw at the start of my video on Friday. So we'll put that piece there. So in case you were wondering where that was that I was at the start of that video, this is it. And once again, we'll put in a little section there, and then we'll build a little house here. So we'll put this one here like that, and then we're going to use this stone building back here for the next section of it. I think that's what I used. Just like that. And then we'll use this section of roof up here like that. And I'm going to put another little animal thing like that. And we'll put a well over here too, because he's kind of far away from town, so he'll need his own water supply. So that might sit over here like that. Okay, so that's looking really good. And one more distinctive area that I want to build. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pick this piece up, and we're actually going to replace this corner of the toy box with something that looks a little bit different. So let me go ahead and set this back to the Briar Ridge theme. There we go. Took a minute to get out of spark mode. And then we're going to come back and pick up the water pieces. And I have to go a little ways in the drawer here to get to them. But I'm going to build kind of a little water feature here that I think would be kind of nice to see as you start off the race. So we'll begin with this little section here. We'll put that in there like that, with a section of straight water, and then it needs a place to go. So we'll put this lake in here, like that. And at that point we can pick this piece up again to get back to that part of the drawer. And I'm going to put a couple of these, not that one, that one. A couple of these in here like this. And then because that rock formation looks kind of weird sitting out there by itself, we'll come over and pick this up. And we'll put this down to create a nice edge for this. So it's something kind of pretty to look at as you're driving along in the toy box. Let's see, we'll put it like that. A couple of those down, and we can put this one on the other side, like that. And there we go. That gives us something kind of interesting to look at. And now at this point, we just want to add in some plants. And everything we need is under the plants drawer, and everything I'm going to use are these customizable pieces. And when you style these for the Briar Ridge theme, they actually get very large. And so we want to make sure we put these out kind of away from buildings and things, something like that. And then the next one you would put down, you'd want to leave a good gap like that between these. And so I'm going to go ahead and put down a bunch of these, and I'm not going to make you watch me put all of them down, but I will place them, and then I'll come back and kind of give you a quick visual tour so you can see where I'm putting all these, and then we'll wrap this video up. Okay, here we are. I've placed trees everywhere, and I'll just give you a quick look at what I've done. Like I said, I'm not going to make you watch me place all of these trees, but I'll give you just a quick overview of what I've got and where I've placed things in my toy box. And if you want to build this for yourself, you can kind of see generally where I placed everything. I don't think it's important for exactly where you place these trees. And so you don't need to see exactly where I put them, as long as they're in the same position, or you can put them anywhere you want, really. But you can see I kind of mixed them up. I've changed their orientations a little bit. I've spaced them far enough apart so that when we style these and they grow in size, they're not going to be completely overlapping each other. And so space them out a little bit. And my goal here, in this direction anyway, is just to kind of create a border for the toy box so that doesn't look, you can't really see the edge of the world. By the way, I also placed a couple of racing cars down there. And we scroll on down over here, and you can see where I place things here. I'll just give you a very brief tour so you can see where everything is as we go around the toy box. I'll show you the near side of the road later, but at least this way you can kind of get an idea where everything is. And by the way, there's the enclosed area there, so you can kind of see how I've done that. And I put some trees and stuff to kind of line the edge of the toy box there to hide the edge of the toy box world. Put a few trees over here on this end of town. And then over on this side of the road, left a little bit of a open area there, kind of like a meadow or something. And then over here, I put Rapunzel's tower back over there because that looks kind of neat off in the distance as you're coming up the speedway beyond the trees. And then on this side of the road, we've got all of these things in here like that. And I've got a few trees I placed over here. Some of the taller ones here, so you see them as you come out of the cave. And you'll notice I didn't carry those trees all the way to the edge of the toy box. I didn't need to because the player will never see those. So you don't have to fill up the entire toy box. You're just putting in stuff in the areas where the player will see it. That's what's important. And then over on this side of the road, and you can pause this video at any time in order to kind of get a good look at it. And you'll notice I rotated the pieces. That little tree sprig there on this tall tree is in a different orientation on each of these. So that way those look like different trees and don't look like the same tree. And over here on the corner, as you approach this corner, I put Grandmother Willow's tree from the set pieces drawer. And then over here, we've got a nice edge of trees along the road. And this kind of blocks in this whole area. So this is kind of dense over here. And I lined these trees up right next to each other because we don't want the player taking a shortcut and driving through there. You want to have to force them to come all the way around the road. And then we're back to the start. And you can kind of see what I did here on this side. I moved the start pad over here, across from the house, facing that direction. And again, since the player doesn't see the area, I left that an open area back over here, because the player, again, will never see that. So that's where I've placed all of my trees, and now that I've placed them all, now we can go ahead and style them. So we only have to come into one of them and open the styling menu, and we're going to scroll over to the Briar Ridge theme, and I'm going to theme all. And it says, are you sure? And I'll say yes, and now it's going to go and theme all of these. And there we go. As you can see, that filled in a lot of that space nicely. That's why we didn't have to pack it so densely full. But when we're down on the ground, this looks pretty good. So we come around here, we got that branch. We can go off to the left and go that way toward Maleficent's Mountain, or we can go this way and come to town. As we come down the straightaway here, you can see Rapunzel's tower off in the distance. That's kind of cool. And then we come to the Briar Ridge trees over here, under the bridge, Grandmother Willow's tree, come around the corner, and back to the starting line. So that looks really good. Now the last finishing touch that I did is I stuck a locator on top of each of the chimneys. I put a chimney back over here behind this building. And I put a locator on top of that chimney and on top of the ones over there in the village. And then I connected those all up to an effects generator back here. So I came in here to the logic menu and did a new locator connection for each of those locators. And then on the level starter, what we can do is a new logic connection on catalyze. We're going to play looped out of the smoke category, the smoke plume. And because we're already in here, we can hook up this button over here to the level starter. So new logic connection when pressed. Come to the level starter, do start. And then we'll come over and push the button, and that will start the smoke for the chimneys, which I thought was a nice finishing touch. Makes it look like somebody actually lives here. And now as we come this direction, you can see we got smoke coming out of the chimney. So there we go. That looks a lot better than the default toy box theme. Well, that's all for me today. I'll be back next Friday with the next lesson in my Briar Ridge Speedway toy box. Meanwhile, if you like my new toy box so far, hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know what you think of it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that so you don't miss the next episode. Have a great weekend.